Okay. Okay, so we're starting chapter 13. Vacha. Prakritim purusham chaiva kshetram kshetragnameva cha etadveditum ichchami gnanam gneyam cha keshava. Shri Bhagavan idam shariram kaunteya kshetram mityavidiyate etadyo veti tam prahu kshetragna itivat tadvidaha. Arjuna said, "Oh my dear Krishna, I wish to know about Prakriti, nature, Purusha, enjoyer, and the field, and the knower of the field, and of knowledge, and the object of knowledge." So 6 things: Prakriti, Purusha, Kshetra, Kshetragna. Kshetra is field, Kshetragna is knower of the field. Then knowledge, Gnana, and Gneya. Gneya means object of knowledge. So these 6 things he wants to know. Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "This body, O son of Kunti, is called field." So Krishna directly answers, Kshetra is the body. And one who knows his body is called the Kshetragna. Okay. Purport. Arjuna was inquisitive about Prakriti, Purusha, Kshetra, Kshetragna, Gnana, and Gneya. When he inquired about all these, Krishna said that this body is called the field, and that one who knows this body is called the knower of the field. This body is the field of activity for the conditioned soul. So we all know this. So we are conditioned and then we can become liberated. So conditioned soul means conditioned by material modes. Liberated means free from material modes. The conditioned soul is entrapped in material existence and he attempts to lord it over material nature. So this is why he is conditioned. Why is conditioned? Because he is trying to lord it over. Lord it over means what? I am the master. I am the Lord. Everything is for my enjoyment. This is called lording it over. So we are there in this material world simply because we want to lord it over material nature. We want to lord it over every living entity. We want to be the boss. We want to be Krishna. And so according to his capacity to dominate, so we're trying to dominate material nature. Lording over means domination. So according to our capacity, now how is this capacity determined? Based on our previous karma. He gets a field of activity. He gets a body. That field of activity is the body. And what is the body? Body is made of senses. Conditioned soul wants to enjoy sense gratification. And according to his capacity to enjoy sense gratification, he is offered a body, a field of activity. Therefore, body is called Kshetra. Now, the person who should not identify himself with the body is called Kshetragna. So this is very interesting. Prabhupada is saying, Kshetragna is what? Kshetragna is one who knows the body, but he should not identify himself with the body. He knows the body, but he should not identify himself with the body. So how do we understand that? I know a criminal, but I will not identify myself with the criminal. I know that this person is a criminal, but I don't associate with him or I don't get close to him. So here, the Atma, which is the Kshetragna, is the knower of the field. He should be the knower of the field, but he should not think that he himself is the body. Okay, so this is what is very important to understand. Kshetragna is spiritual, but in conditioned state, Kshetragna thinks that he is the body. He identifies himself with the body. So all the sufferings that are coming to the body, the Kshetragna thinks that it is his own. But actually it is not his own. It is only happening to the body. But he feels sadness as if it is happening to the soul itself. Again, this example can be understood. Owner and a vehicle. Something scratch happens to the vehicle. Actually, nothing has happened to the owner. But if owner is too attached to the vehicle, he will feel as though his body itself has been scratched or hurt. That is because of attachment. So this Kshetragna should not have attachment to the body. He should just know the body because he is living in the body. So The driver in the car, you should know the car. He should know, okay, is there petrol, is there air, everything is working condition. Otherwise, take it to the garage. He should know, but he should not become too attached to the car. And similarly, Kshetragna should know the body, but he should not become attached to the body. He should not identify himself with the body. It is not very difficult to understand the difference between field and its knower, body and the knower of body. Any person can consider that from childhood to old age, he undergoes so many changes of body, and yet he is still one person remaining. Thus, there is a difference between the knower of the field and the actual field. So, there is a difference between Kshetragna and Kshetra. A living conditioned soul can thus understand that he is different from the body. Conditioned soul is the Kshetragna. He knows that he can easily understand that body is changing, but he is remaining the same. It is described in the beginning, Dehe, Dehinosmin, a living entity is within the body, and that the body is changing from childhood to boyhood, etc. And the person who knows the body knows that the body is changing. The owner is distinctly Kshetragna, no confusion. Sometimes we think, I am happy, I am a man, I am a woman, I am a dog, I am a cat. These are bodily designations of the knower. So actually, he should not say, I am a dog. He should say, I am in the body of a dog. I am in the body of a man. I am in the body of a woman. But the knower is different from the body. So he should not say, I am. Although we may use many articles, our clothes, etc., we know that we are different from the things used. Similarly, we also understand by little contemplation that we are different from the body, because it is my hand, it is my leg, it is not I hand, it's not I leg. So the body is different from the owner. I or you or anyone else who owns the body is called Kshetragna. The knower of the field of activities in the body is called Kshetra. Okay, anybody has any questions on this Kshetra and Kshetragna? I guess it is clear.
Yeah, bro, what do we call that person who knows that it is, or who doesn't know that it is his body and then he tries to exploit? That term is not mentioned here.
Who doesn't?
Who doesn't know that he is not this body and then he just exploits that. What do
No,
we?
that is also Kshetragna only. Kshetragna only, but he is supposed to not identify himself with the body, but he ends up identifying.
No. There are some people who don't even know this thing that they are not this body.
They are just Agnanis or...
Okay, so basically, even if a person tries to exploit, but he knows that he's not this body, he is still called Kshetragya.
No, whether he knows or not, doesn't know, doesn't matter. In this body, like you have a heart, whether you know that you have a heart or not, it doesn't matter. Heart is heart. Heart is called heart, right? Whether somebody knows that there is a heart or what the heart does, doesn't matter. There is an organ called heart, and it will be called heart all the time, whether somebody is in knowledge of that or doesn't have knowledge of that.
Heart will be called, but that person, the Kshetragya
No,
is
it's the
the
same
person,
thing.
right?
So Kshetra is field of activity. Kshetragna is knower of the body. Whether somebody is aware of it, is not aware of it, doesn't matter. Whether somebody is aware that there is a soul or not, their soul is not there, but the soul is there. And it is said that soul is present in the region of the heart. So this question of whether he is called Kshetra or Kshetragna doesn't depend on a person's whether he is fitting the bill or not, like whether he actually is associating in the body or not. Still he is called Kshetragna only. Kshetragna word or nomenclature doesn't depend on his knowledge, whether he is conditioned or liberated, whether he knows that he should not associate with the body or not, doesn't matter. Whoever is supposed to be the knower of the body, he is the Kshetragna.
Okay, even supposed to know. Maybe he doesn't know, but he's supposed to know. Yeah.
Yeah, because he is technically he is the Kshetragna. He doesn't know means that it's Agnana, that's all.
Hmm.
In the first 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, the knower of the body, the living entity, and the position by which he can understand the Supreme Lord are described. In the middle 6 chapters, Supreme Person of Godhead and the relationship between the individual and the soul and super soul in regard to devotional service are described. the superior position of the Supreme Person of Godhead and the subordinate position of the individual soul are definitely defined in these chapters. The living entities are subordinate under all circumstances, but in their forgetfulness, they are suffering. So this is very important. Why are we suffering? Because of our forgetfulness of Krishna. Because when we remember Krishna, Bhoktaram Yagnatapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Surutam Sarvabhutanam Gnatva Mam Shantim Ruchati. So one who knows that Krishna is the enjoyer, proprietor, and well-wisher, he becomes peaceful. When one becomes peaceful, automatically he'll become happy. So there's no question of suffering for one who is conscious of Krishna. Suffering is only because we are forgetful of Krishna. When enlightened by pious activities, they approach the Supreme Lord in different capacities. Artho, Artharthi, Jignasu, Gnani. That is also described. Now, starting with the 13th chapter, how the living entity comes in contact with the material nature and how is delivered by the Supreme Lord through the different methods of fruitive activities, cultivation. So through karma, gnana, and bhakti are explained. Although the living entity is completely different from the material body, he somehow becomes related. That's also explained. So this is important. This is where our problem is. Somehow we have become related to the body, and we are not able to disconnect ourselves from this bodily identification. That is why we remain conditioned. Even though we are doing bhakti, we will not realize this till we are conscious and act on this platform. So there are two ways to do this. One is continuous devotional service without any break. Over a period of time makes us realize that I am not this body. Otherwise, if you are engaged in other activities, then we should use the platform of jnana to understand that, okay, I am not this body. So whenever I am stuck in situations where I end up identifying with the body, I should use jnana and try to extricate myself, pull myself out of that situation. But one who can engage in 24 hours pure devotional service, for him automatically over a period of time, he will realize that he is not the body. So that is the easy process. But because we, for whatever reason, can't engage in 24 hours devotional service, then we have to depend on the platform of jnana to help us, to pull us out of ignorance. So this is very important, because otherwise we will keep continuing to live on this bodily platform, keep associating with the body, keep thinking about the body, keep working, keep worrying about the body, keep planning for the body. And just bodily consciousness keeps on continuing.
Yeah, so why Arjuna happened to choose these terms, Kshetra, Kshetragya? So basically, these are body and the soul only, right? So, any specific reason that Arjuna wants to raise these
Yeah,
terms?
because technically this is saying body and knower of the body. Soul means what? What is his characteristic? So one characteristic is that he is the knower of the body. Otherwise, because as Kshetragna, I am knower of my body. I am not knower of your body. So that Gna means knowledge of Kshetra. So in the Kshetra that I reside, I have knowledge of the Kshetra. So it is Kshetragna. And these are not Arjuna's choice of words. These are technically in Vedas, Vedanta Sutra and all. This is the language. Because he knows all that he is asking in terms of technical nomenclature.
So basically, it is the explanation of the limited experience world, small mini world, where soul and body are actually experiencing that thing. So basically, it's like a boundary which.
No, I didn't understand.
So basically, Kshetra and Kshetragya concept is it is important that soul basically desire to enjoy, and then soul is given a Kshetra, basically a region in which they can enjoy, and that is called body because it's full of senses and other things. So it's a technical understanding of what basically a soul is capable of by having the experiences of that body, and that's why it is important that Arjuna wanted to explain these concepts.
Okay, 13.3. Kshetragnam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata kshetra kshetragnayor gnanam yattaj gnanam matham mama. O son of Bharata, you should understand that I am also the knower of in all bodies. So there is not only one kshetragna, there is parama kshetragna. So this knower, Krishna is saying, I am also present as knower, but I am present in all bodies. You are kshetragna, you are present in only one body. I am kshetragna, but I am parama kshetragna. So I am knower in all bodies. And to understand this body and its knower is called knowledge. So what is knowledge? Knowledge is this only. To know kshetra and kshetragna is gnana. While discussing the subject of the body and the knower of the body, the soul and the super soul. So there are four things now. Body or three things. Body, knower of the body, individual soul, and super soul. We shall find three different topics: Lord, living entity, and matter. In every field of activities, in every body, there are two souls: individual soul, super soul. Because the super soul is the plenary expansion of the Supreme Person of Godhead. Plenary expansion means Amsha. Krishna says, I am also the knower. I am not the individual knower, but I am the super knower. I am present in every body as Paramatma. Okay, this is clear. One who studies the subject matter of the field of activity and the knower of the field very minutely can attain to knowledge, because that is gnana. I said here, knowledge of kshetra and kshetragna is knowledge. So one who can study this, he actually attains knowledge. The Lord says, I am the knower of the field of activities in every individual body. The individual may be the knower of his own body, but he is not in knowledge of other bodies. Supreme Personality of Godhead is present as super soul in all bodies, knows everything about all bodies. He knows all the different bodies of all the various species of life. A citizen may know everything about his patch of land, but the king knows not only his palace, but all the properties possessed by the individual citizens. Similarly, one may be the proprietor of the body individually, but the Supreme Lord is the proprietor of all bodies. The king is the original proprietor of the kingdom, and the citizen is the secondary proprietor. Similarly, the Supreme Lord is the supreme proprietor of all bodies, and the individual soul is the secondary proprietor. The body consists of senses. Supreme Lord is Rishikesha, controller of the senses. He is the original controller of the senses. Just as the king is the original controller of all the activities of the state, the citizens are secondary controllers. The Lord says, I am also the knower. This means that he is the super knower. The individual soul knows only his particular body. In the Vedic literature, it is stated, Kshetrani sharirani bijam chapi subhashve thani veti sa yogatma tata kshetragna uchate. This body is called the kshetra, and within it dwells the owner of the body and the Supreme Lord, who knows both the body and the owner of the body. Therefore, he is called knower of all fields. The distinction between the field of activities kshetra, knower of activities kshetragna, and the parama kshetragna is described as follows. Perfect knowledge of the constitution of the body, the constitution of the individual soul, and the constitution of the super soul is known as gnana. That is the opinion of Krishna. To understand both the soul and the super soul as one, yet distinct, is knowledge. Why one? Because the soul actually has come from super soul, but eternally separated. So they're one yet distinct, which means there is no confusion in identity. Soul is small, super soul is big. Soul is Amsha, super soul is Purna. One who does not understand the Kshetra and the Kshetragna is not in perfect knowledge. One has to understand the position of Prakriti, Purusha, and Ishvara. One should not confuse the three in different capacities. One should not confuse the painter, the painting, and the easel. Easel is where the painting is stored, or it is like a stand. This material world, which is the field of activities, is nature, and the enjoyer of nature is the jiva, a living entity, and above them both is the Paramatma or Ishvara. It is stated in the Vedic language, Bhoktha Bhogyam Preritaram Cha Matva Sarvam Proktam Trividham Brahmam Etat. So there are three Brahman conceptions. Prakriti is Brahman, because Prakriti is the field of activities. Then Jiva is also Brahman, because he's trying to control material nature. And control over both of them is also Brahman, but he's the factual controller. In this chapter, it will also be explained that out of the two knowers, one is fallible and the other is infallible. Chuta and Achyuta. One is superior and one is superior and the other is subordinate. One who understands the two knowers of the field to be one and the same contradicts the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who states here very clearly, I am also the knower of the field of activity. One who misunderstands a rope to be a serpent is not in knowledge. There are different kinds of bodies and there are different owners of the bodies, because each individual soul has his individual capacity for lording it over material nature. There are different bodies, but the Supreme is also is present in them as the controller. The word Cha is significant, for it indicates the total number of bodies. Cha means and, like that. That is the opinion of Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan. Krishna is the super soul present in each and every body apart from the individual soul. And Krishna explicitly says here that real knowledge is to know that the super soul is the controller of both the field of activities and the finite enjoyer, which is the Jiva. Okay, any questions?
It's mentioned finite enjoyer. So even in finite state,
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Tuj, am I audible?
Yeah, now.
Am I audible?
Yeah, now we are audible.
Yeah. So it is mentioned that Jiva can be a finite enjoyer. So is that so? How to understand it? Because we also mentioned in some. I mean, Prabhupada also mentioned in some other purpose that we are not the enjoyer, right? Krishna is the only enjoyer. So is it
Yeah,
like
but we are finite enjoyer, which means that we have limited capacity to enjoy. We can enjoy within the field of our activity based on how we have used or misused our free will. That means that based on under the rules and regulations of karma phala, we can enjoy in a very finite way. For example, I can eat food and I can feel happy. I'm a finite enjoyer. But it is finite because there is no guarantee that by eating I will always be happy. By eating I might get stomach ache also because of karma phala. So I am finite in my enjoyment, and to whatever limited extent I am, like for example, a dog, finite enjoyment. It can only bark, it cannot meow, or it cannot sing. Finite. It has only limited, what it can do is very limited. Right? So all of us are, so for example, if I'm in the body of a human, I can't fly. My enjoyment is finite, limited to the body that I've got. So like this, we are trying to enjoy, but in a way, but we are finite because we are restricted by the body we have got. But in reality, we are not the enjoyer, but we are in the misconception or illusion that I'm the enjoyer, and in that concept, we are finite. We don't have unlimited ability to enjoy.
yeah, it's clear.
Okay, 13.4. तत्क्षेत्रं यच्च यादृक् च यद्विकारी यतश्च यत् स च यो यत् प्रभावश्च तत्समासेन मे शृणु. Please hear my brief description of this field of activity and how it is constituted, what its changes are, whence it is produced, who the owner is, who the knower is, and what his influences are. So little more details about Kshetra and Kshetragna. The Lord is describing the field of activities and the knower of the field in their constitutional positions, meaning real positions. One has to know how this body is constituted, the materials of which the body is made, under whose control this body is working, how the changes are taking place, where from the changes are coming, what the causes are, what the reasons are, what the ultimate goal of the individual soul is, what the actual form of the individual soul is. One should also know the distinction between individual Jiva and Paramatma, their different influences, their potentials, etc. One just has to understand this Bhagavad Gita directly from the description given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And all this will be clarified because Lord is going to clarify all these topics. But one should be careful not to consider the Supreme Personality of Godhead in every body to be one with the individual soul, the Jiva. This is something like equating the potent and the impotent. Okay, I think we'll stop here. This is going to take 10-15 minutes. Okay, so any questions? Is it too technical or is it okay?
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
So like in one of the previous verse you told actually, to realize I am not this body, first, there are two ways. One is like continuous duration service, 24 hours. Second is platform of knowledge basically.
Partial platform of bhakti and partially based on gnana.
Basically, this is actually always through like basically our knowledge or understanding of Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. We're telling. Actually, we'll keep on telling, right? Like we have to tell. Sometime we'll forget. Again, we have to do it. This is a repetition of activity, right?
Correct.
Okay.
You have to keep doing it till we don't forget, right? For example, we go to a new place. First time we go, we follow the maps. Second time we go, we know a few roads, but we don't know all the roads. Third time, fourth time, fifth time. Sometime we will now pakka know the route. After that, we don't have to see the maps, right? So like this, no, many times, first we will be, because if we are in a conditioned state, we can understand, hear from Shastra, then we say, okay, this is what it is. Okay, I am not the body. Okay, I should not, or whatever it is. Then I remember that knowledge. Oh, okay, this knowledge I should have applied. Okay. Next time again same situation comes, again we'll fail. Next again it comes, again we'll fail. We might keep going on like this till one day we are actually able to implement it, right? And in some cases, maybe if we are able to implement only say 20% of something, then another 80% is left. So again, we'll continue that 80% effort. Eventually, when we come to 100% application of that concept, then we don't have to, it becomes internalized. It becomes part of our mindset. It becomes part of our behavior. Then we don't have to worry about that topic. Then we will go to some other topic of jnana, like that. Is it clear?
Sure, yes. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Anything else from anybody? Okay. So then we'll disconnect. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyo patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Samaveta Gaura Bhaktarvrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Hare Krishna.